Good morning. It truly is a pleasure to stand before you here today in the great state of Minnesota, in the great city of Minneapolis, and really to be able to reflect upon the progress that we've been able to make this past year as we really focus on fortifying and building the strength of Big Ten men's and women's basketball. Last year was a big step when for the first time in conference history, we actually hosted all 28 teams in our Big Ten Conference, both men and women, at our basketball media days to just show how important gender equity, gender equality was for us. And I'm blessed to stand before you here today and to be able to have that same event occur here in Minneapolis. I want to take a moment to thank all of our student athletes, first and foremost, for their dedication, their sacrifice, their commitment to excellence, their desire to be great in the classroom, on the court, and in the community. And as we all know, that although our student athletes are our focal point, there's so many people who put a lot of time and energy and effort on a daily basis to make sure they have a great opportunity to be great. And that's their parents, their families, our coaches, our athletic directors, our senior women administrators, our faculty athletic representatives, our chancellors and presidents, all the medical personnel, all the academic personnel on campus that work hard to help build an incredible tradition of Big Ten Conference basketball for both our women and our men's student athletes. I want to take a moment to thank our Big Ten staff. They've worked tirelessly to make this event happen today. I was actually walking in the hotel this morning a little after 6:30, and I saw one of our staff members, backpack on, arms full, carrying documents, carrying food over here to the Target Center to make sure that today goes smoothly. It's that commitment that makes our staff incredibly special. Another special thank you goes to our media partners who will air Big Ten basketball this year in Fox, in FS1, in CBS, in ESPN, and Big Ten Network. And when thinking about Big Ten Network, I want to thank them who are here today, who are bringing this press conference today and tomorrow to all of our fans literally around the world, under their esteemed leadership of their president, Francois McGillicuddy, who's not only a friend but a partner and a great leader for our Big Ten Network. So thank you for the Big Ten Network staff, all that they do to bring just all of this content, not only on Big Ten Network but on BTN Plus, to our many fans who love Big Ten basketball. A special thank you goes to the Minnesota Sports Commission, who've been a great partner. We're looking forward to bringing our women's basketball tournament here this season, and then next season our men's and women's basketball tournament. And then also I want to thank Mayor Jacob Fry, who's been a partner and an ally of the Big Ten Conference, and I know he'll be here sometime over the next 2 days. One partner who is really near and dear to the Big Ten Conference, and I want to thank Tyler Cooper for solidifying this relationship, and that's TIAA for being named the official partner of Big Ten Conference Basketball Media Days, which is a first ever, and also an incredible partner for our Big Ten women's, men's, and basketball tournaments. From an administrative standpoint, and I saw him earlier, but he may be somewhere working. I think I see him over here. I want to announce that we have hired Brad Taylor as our new Vice President of Men's Basketball at the Big Ten Conference. Brad is here today. Brad, welcome to the Big Ten family. We welcome you and your family here. Brad has had an esteemed career at the NCAA, but also for many of our NCAA member institutions. But Brad literally joins us today, and we look so forward to having him here to lead our Big Ten men's basketball efforts. He has incredible integrity. He works hard. He loves our student athletes. He loves our coaches. And most of all, he'll be a dedicated member to the Big Ten Conference. So, Brad, thank you for the commitment to excellence. and we look forward to working with you. Next to Brad, who we introduced last year, is Megan Kahn, who has been an incredible addition to the Big Ten Conference. Megan is our Vice President of Women's Basketball, and she did things last year to help fortify our conference, which I'm so grateful for that. And to have Brad and Megan and to see them standing there together is really special. It puts us in a position as far as where we want to go to make sure we remain the strongest basketball conference in the world. As a thank you to my wife, Greta, who's been a partner, an ally, a great businesswoman, the leader of our family. She'll be here tomorrow. She's done a fantastic job of raising our two children, Perry and Powers. I just want to tell Greta how much I love and appreciate her. She lost her father, my father-in-law, last week, who was special not only to me, but to Greta. And so I just want to let her know that I'm thinking about her today, and I look forward to having her join us here tomorrow. I personally know, as a former collegiate basketball student athlete, what a coach can mean to you, how it can change your life. And I think back to all of the coaches in my life, from elementary school to high school to college, who took the time, energy, and effort to help to mold me into the person that I am today. And I know what our coaches do on a daily basis for our student athletes. They lead with integrity and honor and discipline and commitment to excellence and grit. And so I want to tell our coaches, I tell them all the time, but I want to tell them publicly how much I respect them, how much I admire them, how much I appreciate what they do on a daily basis, and how grateful I am for all of our 28 head basketball coaches on men and women in the Big Ten Conference, and all of the assistant coaches, and our student athletes. They're phenomenal students. They're phenomenal athletes. They're stewards in the community. They're leaders. And it's an honor and pleasure to be able to serve our basketball coaches and our basketball student athletes. As you can tell, the Big Ten Conference is focused on being innovative, creative, strong, bold, powerful. We will never be complacent. We will never follow the status quo. But we also will embrace our 127-year-plus history that has gotten us to the point where we are today. But today, I want to make sure that we discuss how we're going to continue to build our conference from a men's and women's basketball standpoint. We will do what it takes when the time is right to provide opportunities and equity well beyond the playing court for our student athletes and our fans. Because we want to make sure that all of the decisions we make are tethered to education, that we remember that our student athletes are on our campuses to earn a qualified degree, to work hard in the classrooms, to be great athletes. And if they're so blessed to go play in the Olympics or to play in the National Basketball Association or the WNBA, God bless them. But what will last them for the remainder of their days on earth is an education, a degree from one of our incredible institutions, and we need to make sure that we keep that first and foremost. So because of that, our priority has to make sure that we ensure growth, sustainability, and strength for our student athletes and our member institutions. We are currently working on building our Student Athlete Advisory Commission. We'll be starting to finalize that here in the next few weeks and have meetings before the end of the year. So we can continually hear and learn from our student athletes what's important to them, what we can do better as a conference, how we could come together and make their experience even more special than it already is. You know, gender equality and gender equity is a focus at the Big Ten Conference. What we're doing to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Title IX, what we did with our recent Women's Leadership Symposium at our conference office, what we've done with Big Ten volleyball media days, what we're doing here today to say both our women and men's basketball coaches and student athletes have earned the right to be on the same stage at the same time, not in separate locations, that we respect them at the same level. And we want to build opportunities for them in the classroom, in the community. And you saw it this summer. Many of you are here today, got a chance to experience what it means to build immersive experiences in the community with our Big Life series that occurred in Selma and Montgomery, Alabama. And when I looked as we walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge and saw many of our student athletes here today, to be able to feel what happened on Bloody Sunday, to be able to feel what it means to be an American, to be able to feel how the civil rights movement was important, my heart was warmed. We will continue to have those Big Life series events like we had last summer in Selma, Alabama, and I'm grateful of our commitment to excellence with our coaches, our student athletes, and our administrators. As you're aware, we are building the Big Ten Conference into the strongest brand in all of college athletics. We now are coast to coast, from New Jersey and in 2024 all the way to Los Angeles. We are very, very pleased and grateful. We're blessed every day for our 14-member institutions who comprise the Big Ten Conference. But we also are extremely excited about our 2 new family members who are scheduled to join our conference in the fall of 2024, the University of California, Los Angeles, and the University of Southern California, 2 outstanding academic and athletic institutions with rich history, tradition, and legacy. The leaders at UCLA, Chancellor Gene Block and their athletic director, Martin Jarman, and at USC, President Carol Folt and their athletic director, Mike Bone, are great partners. One of our key focus points this year is to make sure that we flawlessly integrate both UCLA and USC into the Big Ten Conference. Our student athletes have been our #1 priority, and during this integration period, they will continue to be our #1 priority. And you'll be able to see it in how we schedule, how we handle multi-team events, the experiences that they will be able to have about now being able to travel to play different institutions across the country. We'll ask ourselves, what can we do on a daily basis to strengthen this academic opportunity, to strengthen these athletic opportunities? How will this relationship and expansion create new opportunities for our student athletes to broaden their platform both on and off the court? We think of the many future student athletes, the thousands of student athletes in the future who will call themselves Big Ten student athletes. So with that, we will methodically, strategically position the Big Ten Conference not only for success now, but for success 100, 200, 300, 400 years from now as we build a much stronger conference. We are also building a unique conference with the opportunities with our upcoming media rights agreements, which take place starting next fall, the fall of '23. Our world-class media partners will be able to provide a platform for our student athletes to display their skills, for our fans to be able to consume content around the world in any form or fashion they so desire via the Big Ten Network, BTN Plus, Fox, FS1, CBS, NBC, and NBC Peacock. We have strong linear network partners, and we also have a strong direct-to-consumer partner. We want to make sure that we provide the flexibility to our fans to be able to consume content in the manner in which they desire. Our new media rights agreements are the most complex and comprehensive set of media rights agreements in all of college athletics. And it'll further strengthen the tradition of the Big Ten Conference. And as you heard me say before, the goal is to make sure we provide content to our fans from age 5 to 105 in any manner or form that they such desire to consume that content. As you all know, that any time you can enter into these level of complex arrangements, it takes so many talented people. We had leadership at our chancellors and presidents level. We had leadership in our athletic director level. We had leadership with our FARs and our SWAs. And then there were individuals in our conference office who literally worked around the clock, who sacrificed family time, vacations, probably their health to an extent, to be able to get these deals done, to make sure that we bring the best possible, most progressive media agreements ever done before. I see a few of them here today. I see Laura Anderson, who's our Chief Financial Officer, and Carrie Kinney, who was an incredible partner in building these media agreements, and Anil Galahali, and Diana Sabo, Adam Newman, who's not here today, he'll be here tomorrow. He's observing a Jewish holiday today. Carrie Cecil, there's so many people here that sacrifice to make sure that when we announce those media agreements, that our fans would be appreciative, but most of all, that our student athletes and our coaches would have an opportunity to be able to perform on platforms that had never been done before. Today, we're here to focus on Big Ten's women's and men's basketball, and I'm so proud of our student athletes and our coaches. Last year was incredible. We had 6 of our women's teams who were blessed to get a berth to the NCAA tournament. 4 teams advanced to the Sweet 16. We had 4 women's student athletes drafted in the WNBA. On the men's side, we had 9 teams make the tournament, which tied a conference record. We had 9 of our student athletes drafted, 4 in the first round, 3 lottery picks. So not only do we have phenomenal student athletes, we have phenomenal coaches. And last year, many of our coaches were able to reach milestones. Lisa Bluter, who's our women's basketball coach at Iowa, recorded her 800th win. Joe McEwen, our women's basketball coach at Northwestern, recorded his 750th win. Susie Merchant, who's our women's basketball coach at Michigan State, recorded her 500th win. Terry Morin, our women's basketball coach at Indiana, recorded her 350th win. Matt Painter, who's our head basketball coach at Purdue, recorded his 400th win. And then Tom Izzo, our iconic leader at Michigan State University, became the winningest coach in Big Ten basketball history. So congratulations to all of our former student athletes who were drafted into the professional ranks and our coaches who reached certain milestones. We have so many of our first-team All-Big Ten men's and women's basketball players back this year. It's going to be an exciting year. So as I close here, again, with our student athletes, coaches, our athletic directors, our chancellors and presidents, our senior women administrators, our faculty athletic representatives, our professors, all the doctors, all the support staff, the academic support staff, the family members, the parents, the siblings, the coaches, and our fans. I just want to thank you and to let you know you have my word that we're going to do everything possible at the Big Ten Conference to build this conference, to make us the strongest basketball conference ever, to place teams in Final Fours, to win national championships, and at the conference level, we will do everything we possibly can to make sure that that happens in an honorable, an ethical, a professional manner. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for your commitment to telling the stories of Big Ten basketball. I'm so excited about this season, and I look forward to seeing many of you during our journey throughout the season as we make a push toward the Final Four and the crowning of a national championship on both the women's and the men's side. So with that, I'll open it up for some questions. And again, thank you for your time, commitment to excellence, and your energy in being here today.
You're right, Kevin.
Kevin, Jeremy Warner, 24/7 Sports.
Hi, Jeremy.
What is the Big Ten's approach to expansion moving forward? Do you want to add programs? And if you do, what are you looking for?
The biggest thing right now, and we have come up with what we're calling some of our can't miss priorities. And one of the can't miss priority is to make sure that we flawlessly integrate our new media partners. But the other big one is to make sure that we flawlessly integrate USC and UCLA into the Big Ten Conference. So in the climate that we're in right now in college athletics, you also always have to be mindful of expansion. But our priority is just to make sure that, one, we take care of our 14 member institutions now from a basketball standpoint, from a conference standpoint, and that we do everything that we possibly can to make sure that we flawlessly integrate USC and UCLA into the Big Ten Conference. We have a lot of work to do. It's one thing to negotiate contracts, to make an announcement, but it's another thing to actually get the work done, and that's what we're focused on right now.
Charles Harmon, Minnesota Spokesman Recorder. Good morning, Commissioner.
Always good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Can you speak on the Pac-12 just recently announced a legacy series with the SWAC doing men's and women's basketball beyond the guaranteed games format this season. Would the Big Ten think about doing something similar and connecting with a black college conference? And then if you want to speak any longer about what happened this summer at going across the bridge, your experience that you went through that.
Yeah, Charles, again, always good to see you. Thank you for your legacy here in the Twin Cities. We've had some discussions about seeing what we can do to create some of these legacy series games. And I know we've had some one-off games that have been played. But from a long-term standpoint, and that's the beautiful thing about having USC and UCLA join us, there's some things that we are working on now to continually afford our student athletes the opportunity to play against historically black colleges and universities. And I look forward to, as we bring that to life, as far as what we could do from a scheduling standpoint. So that's part of the many of things that are on the table as we're looking through scheduling and expansion of what we can do from a unique standpoint. It fits hand in hand, as your second part of your question alluded to, with our dedication, commitment to equality, and this summer was emotional. It was magical. I think about the Selma trip every single day, and I thought about it. When we rode the bus from Montgomery to Selma, it was a 54-mile bus ride, and one of the things that I challenged myself and the individuals on the trip was that, what would you walk 54 miles for? These individuals, our civil rights leaders, walked. They made that 5-day, 54-mile walk. And what was interesting about it, they just walked for the opportunity to vote. And when you think of the commitment, and they weren't on a bus, they were walking. And so when we were able to make that walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge and to see all the footage of what happened on Bloody Sunday, and to think of the many sacrifices that individuals make, it makes days like today incredibly, special for us to be able to tell those stories. And so, Charles, one thing that we'll continually do is to be able to tell those stories about civil rights in our country, but tell it through the mode and the medium of basketball, and especially basketball in the Big Ten Conference. So I look forward to working with Kerry Kinney and others, our athletic directors in our conference, to be able to tell those stories and create these unique opportunities for our student athletes that they'll be talking about for the remainder of their life. Thank you for those questions.
Hi, Kent Youngblood from the Minneapolis Star-Tribune.
Yeah, good to see you.
With the women's tournament coming here next spring on the heels of a very successful Final Four here last spring, can you just talk about your view of this market as a market that supports women's basketball in particular?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I mean, I'm excited to be able to bring our media days here for the first time and our tournaments here. Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Twin Cities, this entire region is basketball hungry. I was fortunate to live here for 16 years, with my time at the Vikings. and all the way from high school basketball to college basketball. And I think of the many games that I was able to enjoy watching here and the history and tradition. So I think people are going to be really excited and probably somewhat surprised about how basketball is supported here in the Twin Cities. And I was fortunate to come to the Final Four here last year. You saw the crowds. They were passionate. They love basketball here. And so one of the things that's been exciting is for us to be able to move our media days around. We were in Indianapolis last year, and our tournaments around. We'll have the men's tournament in Chicago this year due to the COVID swap we had to make, and then to be able to come back here next year with women's and men's basketball. I'm really excited for our Big Ten fans to be able to enjoy basketball here in the Twin Cities. This is a great basketball environment, and I think people will be really pleasantly surprised as far as the way they embrace basketball here, but also the hospitality of putting on, great big events. So I'm looking forward to it. And when you look down the road of adding USC and UCLA to our basketball standpoint, it's really exciting of the kind of talent that we'll have here going forward. So I'm excited about being able to come back to the Twin Cities and to be able to watch some great basketball right here in this venue.
Last question on your right.
Hi, Kevin. John Shipley with the Pioneer Press.
Hey, John, good
Hi,
to
how
see
are
you. Yeah.
I'm wondering how, when UCLA and USC join, how, if at all, the basketball tournaments, the season-ending tournaments, would look any different. I don't imagine why they would. And then where are you with football alignment? I'm guessing you don't know what you're doing, but what kind of stuff is on the table there?
Yeah, regarding the basketball tournament, it's quite natural we have to look at how that works. I know we have individuals in our organization now who are working on what those potential tournaments will look like. I know one thing that'll be exciting, and now we have the flexibility to have them really anywhere across the country. And so having two great basketball programs and the history and tradition, and you think about some of the great basketball players, both men and women, who've played at UCLA, and probably the greatest coaches of all time, and Coach Wooden, but Cheryl Miller and so many other athletes who've played there. It's going to be good to have that history and tradition. So we'll look at ways to build that with our new family members in USC and UCLA from a location standpoint. And then regards, I think your question is about divisions, if we'll continue to have them in football. We're having meetings on that right now. And the good thing about it, we're in this what we're calling an integration phase, and we have members of our organization. Kerry Kinney is leading one group, Diana Sabo, Chad Hawley, and Neil Galahali are working on integration. So we're being very thoughtful, and as I mentioned earlier, we're going to keep the health safety of our student athletes at the forefront of all our decisions, but also provide our student athletes with the excitement to be able to play some great teams. I can't tell you the number of coaches who are excited from a recruiting standpoint, and student athletes who have thanked me personally to be able to play these games and these tournaments within our conference with great institutions. And as I said, Cheryl Miller and Lisa Leslie and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and John Wooden and Jackie Robinson. When you think of Jackie Joyner-Kersey, all these great athletes who have come out of USC and UCLA from an athletic standpoint, and then what they've done academically. And what we're going to make sure that we do on our road trips is to tie in the academic component with our faculty athletic representatives to provide our student athletes with an opportunity to learn like they've never learned before. And with our academic alliance that we have, it's going to be critically important for us to be able to do it. So we're excited about these different road trips, and we're excited about working with our provosts and everyone on campus to afford our student athletes an opportunity to learn. I mean, we've even had some discussion on these trips, like with Selma, Alabama, that we did. How can that become a course? Because regardless of what course a student athlete has taken in civil rights, that trip right there, I can tell you right now, was life-changing. So we have some great plans in order to make sure that we build this relationship athletically and academic with our student athletes.
Thank you, Commissioner Warren.